What's going on, YouTube? So today we're going to be reviewing the new PRD 815 with the 1.2 cap on it, and we'll see how it stacks up against that awesome PRD 815 with the 1.3 cap on it. And we're going to be putting it to the test on a $150,000 car. We have a BMW M8, and of course it's a metallic. So as far as the gun itself goes, everything is the same as the PRD 815. The only thing that changed is the color, which I kind of like this color better personally, and obviously the 1.2 tip. First things first, let's check out our spray pattern. Basically the same as our PRD 815, although it does seem like it's putting out less material. I have everything full open. We're gonna go ahead and lay our first coat of color on this thing and see how it does. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I really only use my PRD 815 for clear. The reason that is because I feel like, although it does a great job at breaking up any material you put in it, I feel like it's not as precise as I would prefer. What I mean by that is when I'm doing a blend or I really have to control the material I'm putting out, I need my gun to do what I want it to do. And for me personally, I feel like the PRD 815 with the 1.3 on it just puts out too much material. And yeah, I could turn the fluid in, but I'm not the type of person that wants to sit there fidgeting with my gun. I want to be able to take my gun in the booth, leave everything wide open, and I want the gun to do what I want it to do. I should be able to control my fluid through my trigger. So what I'm hoping here is that the 1.2 cap and tip on this gun helps it improve its precision. Now, obviously for clear, that's not as big a deal. You just need good atomization and you can get a great clear coat finish. So I'm hoping this 1.2 improves the precision of this gun just a little bit, because that's all it needs. It just needs a little improvement. I really do feel those who compare the Porpoise guns in general to SATA are really on point. And that's why I don't like SATAs, because they just put out too much material. And I feel like, in my experience, no matter how much I've messed with those guns, I can't get Basecoat to come out how I want it to come out. It just comes out too thick. I can say though, first impression with the 1.2 setup, it does seem to give me slightly more precision with my paint job. I mean, you guys saw I was trying to keep my color away from the top here, and I really didn't have much room. And I did manage to really limit how much color got up there, as well as on our blend here. When I threw my color out, I managed to keep the color where I wanted to keep it. I don't want it going too far on me yet, because I need to throw a wet bed on this thing. All right, we got our wet bed down. Let's throw our second coverage coat on. It definitely seems like it's breaking up the metallics a little better than the 1.3 did. Although the 1.3 did an awesome job. I don't know if you guys watched that video, but if you didn't, you should check it out. I'm blending out a little bit now that I got my wet bed on, and I don't have to worry about too much dry overspray. It does seem like the fan is slightly smaller on the 1.2, because I remember when I did my pattern test with the 1.3, I was blown away by how huge it was. Now, this is really still a beautiful pattern. I mean, you see how fine the material gets around the edges. It's kind of hard to see on the tape, but you can see it. It has a solid middle, which is awesome, and then it gets very fine around the outside. But the height does seem a little smaller. Mind you, everything is full open for this test. But there could be a benefit from having a smaller fan pattern, and that would be more precision, which is exactly what I want out of my base gun. All right, so we have 2 coverage coats on here with no drop coat whatsoever, and we have little to no modeling. Extremely impressive. Just like the PRD with the 1.3, these guns break up metallics with absolutely no problems. Now, there are a couple things I saw that I have to take care of. A couple dirt spots I have to nib. So I'm gonna take care of these spots, throw on another wet bed, and then we'll do our drop coat. All right, we're all set for our drop coat. Now, this is the real test for this gun. We're gonna find out just how well, at a low pressure, this thing could break up our metallics. Okay, you see, I still have some scratches here. Let me try putting a little on there first, giving it a second, and then we'll continue with our drop coat. But I mean, that looks beautiful. I really do like the fact that this gun has a smaller pattern. It feels like the pattern on this gun compared to the 1.3 is affected less by the pressure. I don't know if that makes sense, but I noticed with my 1.3, the lower pressure I go, the fan gets noticeably smaller. With this gun, it seems like the fan has maintained its size, not perfectly, no gun does, but this gun definitely maintained its fan size better with a lower pressure than the 1.3 did. That is an awesome finish on my drop coat. Awesome finish. I really think for a base gun, the 1.2 is the way to go. As I was laying that drop coat, I also noticed that the droplet size was smaller than they were with the 1.3 setup. And I like that a lot. I really like that for my base gun. That's what I want. For clear, I'm not as picky. It doesn't really matter. I mean, to give you an example, I would use a Sata to clear. I think they're great clear guns. Can they finish extremely flat? Not in my experience, because they have a large droplet size that you can't really make smaller no matter how you mess with the gun. At least I haven't been able to. So overall, if we're comparing the 1.3 setup to the 1.2 setup for base coat, specifically, the 1.2 takes the cake all day. I'm able to be more precise, and it has a smaller droplet size. Those are 2 things for me that are very, very essential for a base coat gun, which is why I rarely used my 815 with the 1.3 for base. But the 1.2, I would probably pick it up over my Iwata on occasions. It did an awesome job. Now, let's find out if it can lay clear like the 1.3, because the 1.3 is a great clear gun. All right, we're all set for our first coat of clear. I'm using Omni 161 unreduced, and I have my fan and my fluid wide open. It seems like right away, I'm noticing the same thing that I noticed with the base, where it's not putting out as much material as the 1.3 setup. Which, for base, for clear, I'm not as excited about, but maybe that will translate into a finer finish. I also just realized I should probably slow my passes down a little bit to compensate for the lack of material that I'm used to with my Clearcoat gun.
I really like this fan a lot though. You know, it's nice to have a big fan, but I like the control that a smaller fan gives me, and I think that's something that a newer painter would also benefit from.
Our first coat finish definitely looks good. I like the texture. It's got a very tight peel to it. Here it's a little dry towards my edge there, you can see. But that's okay because I don't want to build my material up here, nor do we go for perfection on our first coat. But for our first coat finish, that's pretty solid. Now on our second coat, I'm definitely gonna go ahead and slow my passes down quite a bit. This gun is definitely slower than the 1.3 setup. All right, we're all flashed off, ready for our second coat. Now, like I said, I'm gonna slow my passes down, and I'm really gonna try to get a nice flat finish.
I lowered my pressure by about 3 psi. And my droplets are still fine, which is awesome. With my 1.3, they wouldn't be as small as they are with this 1.2. The only bad thing I have to say about the 1.2 so far for clear is that it's a little too slow for my liking. One of my last videos that I posted with the 1.3 setup, and I cleared the car, man, I flew down that panel, and it came out awesome. It had, you know, a little more texture than I would have preferred, but I like moving fast. All right, finish up right here. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a trade-off, you know. You get the smaller droplet size, but you lose the speed, but you gain precision. All right, I'll give this a few minutes to flash off, then we'll come back and see how this thing came out.
Before I show you guys how this thing came out, I just realized I forgot to mention, I'm doing a giveaway for this gun. I'm doing it the same way I did the giveaway for the 1.3, which is 1 shirt equals 1 entry. There are giveaway shirts available on my website. There's only 50 shirts for sale. Now, I mentioned this on Instagram once and on YouTube, I think twice. We only sold about 13 shirts to this point, and whether the shirts sell out or not, a winner's still getting chosen. So if you haven't entered, I encourage you to enter, because right now, those who have a solid chance at winning a gun and 100% chance of getting an awesome shirt. And here is our finished product. I have to say, I am very, very impressed by the finish this gun left behind. I like the finish almost as much as I like the finish out of my 1.3. Now, if we're gonna compare the 1.2 and the 1.3, I would say this. The 1.2 is a better base gun. It's more precise, and you get finer material droplets, which is certainly better for Basecoat. Now, is it a good clear gun? Absolutely, it got the job done. But for me personally, I would stick with the 1.3 for clear, and I would use the 1.2 for base. If you're a beginner, I would personally suggest you pick up the 1.2. It's more forgiving and it's more precise. So if you're not as experienced, the gun will handle a little of the workload for you. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this one, guys. I really appreciate you tuning in. Hope you got some info out of this video, some value out of this video. If you did, if you could, drop a like, comment, maybe even subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. It means a lot to me and it helps out the channel a bunch. Anyway, guys, until the next time, peace.